We are back. We hope you had a great break. And again, this is day 4, the fourth and final day of this year's RNEC conference. Thank you once again for joining us. We have participants from all over the world. We are so glad that you are here. And earlier on, we had the keynote presentation from Dr. Bernadette Delmans. I know you had a lot of questions. Unfortunately, that was all the time we had. But don't worry, we took note of those questions, and who knows, we just might have her back, or maybe we talk more about that in next year's conference. At this point, we will be having a panel discussion on community-based initiatives addressing environmental issues affecting young children. Leading the panel is the Pacific Education Senior Advisor at Save the Children Australia and an early childhood development expert with more than 12 years experience in the ECD field in Africa and Asia Pacific. To introduce our panelists and moderate the session, please welcome Ms. Caroline Desave.
Thank you, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Thank you so much for joining our session on community-based initiatives addressing environmental issues affecting young children. We have 5 brilliant speakers, and shortly I'm going to introduce them to you. So we have Mr. Bhushan Tuladhar. So please turn on your video so that colleagues can see your face. He is the Chief of Party for USAID Kathmandu Clean Air Program, which is being implemented by a consortium led by FHI 360. Bhushan has worked for various government and non-governmental organizations for over 25 years, mainly on urban environmental issues such as air pollution, solid waste management, sanitation, and climate change. He has also served as a Chief Technical Advisor South Asia for UN Habitats and led a local NGO such as Clean Energy Nepal and Environment and Public Health Organization. He has also served as the head of Kathmandu Metropolitan City Environmental Department and is a member of its City Planning Commission. Welcome, Bhushan. We are looking forward to hearing your presentation. We are also joined by Ms. Shweta Bahri. She is the founder of Earth Warriors, and the Earth Warriors is an ECE curriculum that uses play-based learning and solutions-oriented approach to teach young children about climate change and sustainability. She grew up in India and is an education policy specialist who has worked with government, multilateral organizations, civil society in South Asia and Africa for over 10 years. She is also the founder of No More Waste, a platform promoting sustainable solutions for individuals and businesses in India. Shweta has a degree in public administration from the London School of Economics and land economy from Cambridge University. Welcome, Shweta. And we also have Ms. Samita from Warrior Moms in Punjab. And the Warrior Moms is a collective of mothers who are advocating and leading action around clean air. She works as a social and environmental activist and is working with various environmental issues in India. Such as getting the solid waste management 2016 implemented. Samita is part of Save Matawara forest movement. So we'll be hearing from her about how mothers are at the forefront of leading changes in terms of having clean air and other clean environment issues. We also hear from another warrior mother, Miss Manorama Ekka. She is a social development and social activism and child rights activist. She has expertise in child rights and women's issues. She belongs to the Orawan tribal community, which is the 4th largest tribal community in Jharkhand, India. Her mission is to empower the marginalized communities, especially tribals, Dalitis, and the deprived masses. She's a member of Lohadag District Child Welfare Committee, working with children, youth, women to bring awareness on local issues such as trafficking, dropout, displacement, malnutrition, child labor, and other issues affecting children. As I said before, she's also a part of the Warrior Moms Collective. We will also hear from two colleagues, two partners from Vietnam. I think they are not yet online. So we have Shu Kim Da and Guyeni Quoc Dat. I don't know if they're online yet, but they are from a group called Think Playgrounds. When they join, I think we can introduce them. I hope I didn't miss anybody else. So we look forward to hearing from each of these wonderful presenters. Each presenters is going to, three of the presenters will have 3 minutes, so 5 minutes each. Bhushan, Shweta, and the Think Play Groups team will have 5 minutes each. And then Samita and Manorama, our warrior mamas, you will have 2.5 minutes each to present to us, about your initiative. So briefly, today we, of course, want to talk about the community initiatives that address issues of environmental issues that are affecting young children. We want to hear from your experience, our dear presenters, on how you're addressing environmental degradation issues such as air pollution, increased urbanization, and others. We also want to assess together any common trends between the initiatives from the different countries, reflecting on the challenges and solutions. And also we hope that our participants from online will also engage and share feedback and share questions and share also from their experiences. So thank you so much. So without further ado, I'll turn over to Mr. Bhushan, who is going to share with us the experience from FHI 360.
Thank you, Caroline. Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me. What I'm going to share is actually experience from a little bit work that we did before I joined FHI, but something that we are continuing with in FHI, Citizen Science for Clean Air. As we all know, air pollution is an important issue for our health. 99% of the global population actually breathing polluted air, and we heard from WHO as well on this. And WHO itself labels this as the greatest environmental health risk globally. And of course, children are highly vulnerable to air pollution on this. So moving on, next slide, please. So one of the things about air pollution is that a lot of us don't see it. If it's waste, we see it on the streets. A polluted river, we can see it, maybe even smell it. But air pollution, unless it's really bad, we don't see it. So it's not tangible. So what we require is data to actually make sense of it and how bad the air is, or how bad it's getting, or what is the trend, and so on. But then data is often very complex, difficult to understand, and boring, seriously. Except for the data scientists or scientists, for the common person, it could be something that you don't understand, you don't want to understand, you don't want to deal with. But at the same time, you need that data to do your planning. You need that data to raise awareness and so on. And this is an initiative where citizens have been engaged in collecting data, utilizing that data for advocacy and education. This is a case from Kathmandu, where NGOs have been involved in collecting air quality data way back in 1990s using this high volume sampler, or even 24-hour data collected by the government, and NGOs have helped with that. But more recently, in 2016, what happened was a group of citizens, and it's just a group, it wasn't even a registered NGO or anything, were interested in this, and they bought a few low-cost sensors, and you can see a picture of it in the right. That's actually my son holding one of them. And we had one of them in our house, and we used to take it around wherever we went. Sometimes this is on a trip to Pokhara, which is another city, and he was quite happy looking at the data as we went through the highway. So it was something that even children like him could look at it and understand. It was just this one number for PM 2.5. But that data, which comes from, as I said, a low-cost sensor, but it's quite accurate. And nowadays there are different kinds of sensors. That was quite useful in raising awareness among citizens about this data. But then not just one. Drishti, what we did was we got a network of sensors around Kathmandu, in 18 to be more exact. Next, please. And then with this, what we did was then that data from that, all these sensors were collected. And these sensors were really, people putting them in their houses, in their living rooms and so on. And 18 different locations in Kathmandu, they were then put up in a website in the local language. And 2 of the local newspapers, dailies, Republica and Nagrik, they actually published it on a daily basis. Sometimes when there was a big spike in air pollution, they put it in the front page, like you see it here. We call this democratization of data, right? Where data goes from the scientist's computer or the scientist's lab out into the public. And we think that that is very important for public to actually get access to this data and understand this data. Next, please. But we need to go beyond just generating data, using that data. So once that data is available, then we can use that for awareness campaigns, as you can see it in the first picture on the left, or in the picture left bottom, you can see a town hall meeting that we did at the local municipality. The person right in front is the mayor. So a lot of people, and you can see there's only standing room crowd. These are citizens who went to the mayor to tell him that, we are concerned about the air quality in our city, in our neighborhoods, and requesting him to do something. They also went as far as doing rallies, and you can see that on the right. And at the bottom, what you see is a video making competition that another group did based on that data, information from that data for children. So these data, taking science to the citizens for awareness, advocacy, and education. That is what citizen science is all about. And this is just an initiative that I wanted to mention. Next, please. That happened in Kathmandu. And now with our Kathmandu Clean Air program, we're taking that one step forward. We're actually then having meetings. There are 18 municipalities in Kathmandu. And this picture, you see the mayor of one of these municipalities and the researchers from the local university talking to the mayor, convincing the mayor to have one of these little low-cost sensors in the municipality building, so that people who visit the building can actually see this equipment and the data from it and make sense of it. And the municipalities can then utilize that data to make programs and plans. Next, please. So what we feel that is required is, for action against air pollution, one, we need local leadership. The municipal mayors to understand the issues and what to do about it. We need stakeholder partnership. We need, all the stakeholders, whether that be private sector, community, municipality, development partners, working together in the same direction. And most of all, we need community ownership. And that is what citizen science helps do. Thank you very much. Next, please. Next slide, please. That's all I have, I think. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bhushan. We are going to do a Q&A session after everybody has presented. But, any questions, please put in the chat box, and then Bhushan will answer, during the Q&A session. I even have a question for you about citizen science, so just keep tuned. Next, we would like to hear from Shweta from Earth Warriors. Please, Shweta, take it over from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline, and thank you for having me here today. I am Shweta. I am the co-founder of Earth Warriors, and Caroline already gave me a lovely introduction, so thank you for that. Earth Warriors is an organization that provides age-appropriate climate education for young children. And before I get started, I'd love to get started with a quick poll to engage all of you. So Rowan, if you could just share that. I think this poll is going to give really good context about what we want to talk about today. So the first question I'd love to ask you all is, do you think that climate education will lead to climate anxiety in our youngest learners? So this conference is very much focused on the early years. We work with really young children. And one of the things that we found is that this is a question that comes up a lot. So I'll give it a minute for everyone to just have a chance to respond. Some interesting answers here, a lot of maybes. So the majority, I'm sure some answers are still coming in, but the majority are saying maybe. So yes, it is a question that stumps a lot of us in terms of figuring out whether this is a topic that can be taught to such young kids. And this is consistent with our experience all over the world where we've been implementing Earth Warriors. There's always a bit of confusion whether yes, no, maybe. Rowan, maybe we could move on to the next question. In your opinion, what would be the objective of climate education for children in their early years? 1, build a lifelong bond with nature. Understand that individual actions can make a difference. 3, understand that we're all in this together. 4, all of the above. So what is age appropriate when you're teaching? What are the age appropriate goals when you're teaching young children about climate change? Because you can't be teaching them, the technical science of it at the ages of 3 or 4. 100% answers all of the above. Build a lifelong bond with nature. Amazing. So absolutely, the correct answer to all of this is all of the above. We're not teaching, and interestingly, no one said we're all in this together, but actually that is a really key part of what we want children to realize, is that they are not alone in tackling this problem. So this is great. The reason we talk about this is that age appropriateness is key when it comes to teaching kids about climate change. Thanks, Rowan. Really great to get a sense of all of your opinions, and I'm going to come to why I talked about this. So climate change is a huge issue for our planet, and children are going to be the most affected, and particularly kids in their early years are the ones that are going to bear the brunt of climate change more than all of us. There was a Save the Children report recently that said children today will be facing 7 times as many heat waves, 2 times as many wildfires, and 3 times as many droughts as their grandparents. So the future, looks bleak when you see statistics like this. And kids, when they are seeing statistics like this on the news and for what they're hearing, children are increasingly extremely anxious about climate change. Recently, research showed that over 77% of kids are more concerned about climate change than anything else. And yet climate education is not given enough priority as a tool to tackle their climate anxiety and to prepare them for the future that lies ahead. And this is despite the fact that there's evidence that if just 16% of children received climate education, it actually has the power to reduce carbon emissions by 19 gigatons by 2050. So that, to put that in perspective, was half of the world's carbon emissions in 2019. So that just gives you a sense of how important climate education is for young children. Next slide. And this is the approach that we have taken forward at Earth Warriors to teaching young children about climate change. Now, we focus broadly on the 3 to 11 age group, and we are the first organization to really focus on early years and teach them about climate change. What we found was there's no other organization doing this right now. People are extremely anxious about teaching kids in their early years about climate change because they feel they won't understand it and they'll get even more stressed about it. But that's not what we believe. We believe that, and as all of you know, 90% of a child's brain develops before they're 5. If you teach children about climate change and sustainability in an age appropriate way at a young age, you actually have the power to build sustainable habits and mindsets that are going to last a lifetime, that come as naturally to them as brushing the teeth. So we have developed a framework with which we ask educators and teachers to approach climate change education with young children. And other than the fact that we use, a play-based pedagogical approach that is appropriate for these earliest learners, our biggest approaches and tips are, firstly, educators need to be positive themselves and conquer their fears when they are approaching these topics with young children. It's extremely important to make students feel empowered to take climate action. Research has shown that just teaching the science of climate change doesn't work. You need to make students feel empowered. You have to make it local and contextual for your students, for your earliest learners, immerse them in the local context. Even though climate change is a global issue, there is a lot of helpful local context that can give children, hands-on real experience. You should practice what you preach. Sustainability in the classroom, reuse plastic bottles, reuse cardboard boxes, reuse all of those things that are usually considered waste, and practice what you preach, and have positive, open conversations with your students. And what we found is that 100% of students, we've reached about 4,000 students in the last year, and 100% of them, no matter what their age, have not felt anxious about climate change, but have actually felt really excited about their role as Earth Warriors using this approach. And just to end, I'm going to play a short video that is just going to give you a sense of the power of climate education to inspire climate action in young children.
Everybody should be an Earth Warrior. We have to look after the animals and the plants.
I really want to help the planet and save it, for it to become a better place instead of becoming a wasteland.
Because the rainforest is getting chopped down. It uses greenhouse gases. Make the earth be warmer.
Earth Warriors makes you learn, and it is fun at the same time.
I've been putting the right rubbish in the recycling bins.
The climate is changing. We must take action. Be an Earth Warrior.
We're the Climate Earth Warriors!
Thank you. So you can see kids are really excited about their role as Earth Warriors, and we're really excited about getting our curriculum to as many kids in schools around the world as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shweta. Yes to being Earth Warriors, all of us. Thank you so much for inspiring us. We have our colleagues from Vietnam, Chu Kim Dak and Guyeni, who I didn't introduce earlier, and they are going to present to us immediately after this. So Chu Kim Dak, I hope I'm saying your name right, has a 5 years designing experience designing and building gardens and landscaping in Hanoi. She and her partner founded Think Playgrounds in 2014 to pilot solutions for public spaces friendly for children and which promote children's rights to play. Think Playgrounds worked with partners, communities, and local governments to build over 200 public playgrounds. Wow, amazing, in Vietnam, and piloting and expanding new models of community engaged in renovating friendly, inclusive, creative public spaces. And in 2020, Chu Kim Dak was named on the list of the 100 inspirational women in the world by the BBC. we are so privileged to have a celebrity in our midst. She is also joining with her colleague, Nguyeni Tiokodats. I'm sure I didn't pronounce the name correctly, so you will teach us today how to say your name correctly. He co-founded Think Playgrounds together with Kim, and is also a designer and a social entrepreneur at Think Playgrounds. He has had the opportunity to work with playground design experts from Germany, France, the USA, and Japan. And in addition, he is also a design consultant for preschools and elementary schools in Vietnam, contributing to promoting the value of play in the social environment. In the project community, in the community, he also consults for residential areas and hamlets, creating safe space for children and to play and enjoy their right to play. He has also collaborated with Plan International in designing an inclusive playground in the Friendship Village and in the Tan Mai ward of Vietnam. So welcome our colleagues from Think Playgrounds. Over to you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Kim Quoc. So we are co-founder of Think Playgrounds, and sorry we are a little bit late, and I'm very excited to participate here with one of the same organization in the region. So next slide, please. So we start from the children's right to play. We knew that play is very important for the healthy development of children, but in Vietnam is usually considered bad behavior when children play, and it has a very bad impact on children's health, and we have many problems with it. So as architect, and designer, we try to build public playground for children, and we start at a volunteer group to DIY playground from recycled material.
So as you see in this slide, the circle coloring box, you see the two parts, education and play. And in Vietnam, or I think mostly in Asia, the education part is very important, and it's kind of in Vietnam, the parents upset with the education. So the formal learning and informal learning is take a lot of time from the kids' life. So we want to emphasize that the play part is also is the kids also learning when they play in playground or in the normal life. There are many lessons from them to learn, and if you make it equal, education and play in the same amount of time, it will be make the kids' life more more happy. Yeah.
Next slide, please. So we start as playground. We building playground with the community and volunteers. Later, we realized that to make the playground sustainable, we have to think of the whole public space where everyone can participate, and it have to be friendly with the environment. So we try to aim for inclusive and sustainable public spaces, and we try many different model and pilot different model that we learned from the work, and we got some many different kind of playground, and also the public space design in Vietnam.
Next slide, please. So this is the way we approach. We always respect the communities as experts. Just that we learn a lot from them, and this is kind of approach will help us to make us to go deeper in the community heart. So we always share and discuss with them, share experience and knowledge, and also the core solution. And we are focused in low carbon method, and we also want to public space include the urban vulnerable groups in the every our project. So this is the way we do, and I think the most important part is the community as expert is to make help us a lot to understand them and work with them.
Yeah, next slide, please. We go fast. So the process we have many meeting and workshop with community to the final result as a public space built, and later we still go along with them for the maintenance and many other issues happen when they using the public space.
Next, please.
Yeah, next, please.
So as you see in some of this photo, it's very common situation in Vietnam. Like we have many wasted land in the cities. Like some design is not too friendly with the community and even the children. So we want to use many idea and many method to solve the problem and to deal with the parking lot and turn it to become the playground.
Just earlier or another kind of wasted that we consider wasted land in the city. Yeah. Next, please. Yes, so the problem with the urban community that we are not really attached to each other, that you don't know your neighbors. So we try to reconnect the community to have a kind of community for the social cohesion between each local community. So next, please.
So this is one of our favorite model, like adventure playground. This was designed and built and developed for children and by the children. So it's the to make it for children and by children, you have to do many workshops with community and involve them from the beginning to the even in the building and running the space. So natural material when very important in the adventure playground.
And when children can use tools to save our play space. Yeah. Next, please. Another model that's very interesting, that loose path play, that we can use many recycle things in our life, that children will be is more creative when they interact with the stuff that didn't design as a toy.
Next, please. And this is community garden. So we not only focus in children. So after we deal with the public space issue in Hanoi, so the community garden is very important not only for children and also for the parents and grandparents. So it's very inclusive public space, and it can be sustainable for urban agriculture, social cohesion, and reduce the congestion, increase the biodiversity in urban area. So this is a kind of a very common activity for a long time ago, but now we want to make it new. Next, please.
Next, please. And also the community art is also very interesting when children can use can make their own model and can have artists work with them to have some kind of art in the public space. Next, please.
So this is a challenge, and working with community in Vietnam is some community in cities, they already broken. So we have to deal with many problems with the problem inside the community, also the problem outside. And they very complicated with many view and many voice, and they have to solve the same problem with many perspective. So to work with them, we have to do many workshops, many meetings to understand them, And to promote the biodiversity in the urban area is never easy. And to recover and to make it grow and make it more green. So we have to work with the expert and to find the solution for everyone. So this is the some something we want to share you, some successful stories.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's really, really interesting. I have so many questions, but let me hold so that we first hear from warrior moms, Samita and Manorama from India. Each of you is going to have 2.5 minutes to share your experience of influencing decisions, actions around clean air. And how that is helping changing the lives of young children in India. Thank you. Over to you, Samita and Manorama.
Hello, Sat Shri Akal, Namaste. I'm Samita, Warrior Moms from India. We are a collective of mothers or women who are fighting for clean air because, as you know, that in India, the problem of clean air is really drastic. I belonging to the state of Punjab. Our major problem is landfills and the depleting forest cover. So there are a lot of toxic gases that are emitted from landfills, and nothing much is being done about it. And the dismal state of affairs of the forest cover, which is supposed to be 33% of the area, is now just 3%, which is inclusive of all the orchards and household trees grown also. So you can well imagine. So we have a forest in Punjab, which is called the Matewada forest. So we mothers have collectively got ourselves associated with that issue that there shouldn't be a textile park opened right next to it because the toxicity of air, land, water will lead to a lot of health issues in young children. So basically what is happening is already we are noticing that due to landfills and due to lesser coverage of trees and highly extensive industrialization in the state, which is supposed to be an agriculture state, that there are various health issues that the children are facing. Most importantly, young children are getting asthma. They certain before even their birth, they have women are experiencing miscarriages, and children are born with birth defects. Now this is really alarming, and this is very serious. Being a mother and fighting for the cause, it is like when worst comes to worst, it's the mother who first runs up and tries to save the child. So here we are as warrior moms, speaking not just about Punjab, speaking on behalf of all the mothers of India from our collective Warrior Moms India. We are here trying to raise our voice for our children, for the survival of our children, because as you know, that the life expectancy in India in the world has come down has been cut down from 6-7 years, and in the city, the capital of our country, has come down with another 10 years. So what kind of future are we holding for our children? These are extremely important issues. So all that we are trying to do is raise awareness, talk about it. Mothers are coming out of their homes. They are raising their voices that this is not done. Our children need to live. They have as much right to breathe as anybody else. And we being mothers, the nurturers, we have to ensure that our earth, that our Mother Earth is cleaner, clearer, and pollution free. For maybe it's for the plant life, the new buds that are coming out, the new plants that are coming, or maybe even for the animals, for human children, because we all are interconnected. Nature is the only thing that is going to take us forward for a better world. So this is what is from me, and over to Manorama.
Okay, can you hear me now? Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Samita. Greetings to all, and Johar from Jharkhand. And as already Samita told about work of warrior moms, and I'm working here in Jharkhand, but it's a mothers collective, and all of us are working in different sectors. And especially in Jharkhand, we are fighting for this smoke-free chulha. And most of our moms are using this biomass. And because of that, because of smoke, children and women and old people and almost all the family members, they are affected due to that smoke. So we are working for that, and we can see the negative impact after this COVID-19. This is one of the picture of one of the activities, because time was very short, I'm running. And like me and my team of warrior moms, we are going one village to another village, and through games and dance and through different activities, we are trying to tell them about this different types of pollution, and especially this air pollution and climate change, and how we can contribute our role to save. And because I belong to a tribal community, and most of the tribal, their life is to protect and preserve this environment. So this is some of the impact we can see. And we talk with children person to person if needed, and in group, and we try to take their views, how they are facing challenges after this pandemic, because now all of us, we are a kind of all over the world, we experience this, and we can see stress and anger among these children. And like mothers, they stay, most of the mothers here, they stay at home, and their voice is not heard. Even at home, they can't protest. Their economic condition is so poor, they can't purchase that LPG connection. Although government has given LPG gas connection free of cost, but once they receive that LPG, and once that is finished, they can't afford to buy the another gas cylinder. So that's how we are trying to like support them, and different families are getting support from us to how they can do some kind of livelihood work, so that the economic condition will be good, and they can use that smoke-free chula, that is LPG. So that's how we are trying to work. And I'm working as a child right activist from last almost 22 years. And with Warrior Moms, I'm working from last year. And this is a very wonderful opportunity to talk about my experience. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Warrior Moms. I wish we had more time to hear more from all of you, wonderful speakers. But yeah, time is not on our side because we started a bit late. So we only have 7 minutes for brief Q&A. But I want to reassure our participants that this is not the last time. This is just the beginning of this wonderful conversation and the learning together. RNEC will be organizing different webinars where we can continue to discuss on this topic and learn together. So please share your questions. Even if they are not answered today, they will definitely be answered in the follow-up activities, including those webinars that RNEC team will be communicating to us. So haven't yet seen yet the questions from the audience. Rowan can share, but to kick off, I wanted to ask Bhushan, can you share from your experience what is the difference between tackling an environmental issue more generally as opposed to tackling an environmental issue with the focus on children? Because I think that's important distinction that participants would like to hear more about. Can take like just a minute to share from your experience. Bhushan, are you able to share? Or we can also hear from Think Playgrounds team. You can share your perspective. What's the big difference between tackling an environmental issue generally or tackling the environmental issue with the focus on children? How does it look different?
Yeah, so we work on a project with Urban 95 about children under 95 centimeters, 3 years old, and so really the environment affecting children badly than more than adults. So when you think about children to design the city, so it's will be totally different. If you like us, we are adults, so we can support some kind of we can like
afford.
Yeah. So the pollution that we have every day that we consider like acceptable, but it's not acceptable for the children, for example. So children need a healthier environment, and it's good for everybody in the city. So in our view, when you design a city public space for children, so it will be totally it will be higher level of protections and safer. The street have to be safer, and also the air have to be cleaner, especially for children.
Yeah, thank you so much. So keeping the children's perspective, thinking about their experience and how that's different from adults is very important, even from the design perspective. So thank you so much. So to Shweta, I would like you to share your experience in how you've used citizen science to guide your initiative. So citizen science is a type of scientific research conducted by non-professionals, everyday people, also sometimes called public participation in scientific research. So have you used this type of research in your work? Can you please share about that, your experience?
Absolutely. So my co-founder and I, when we started Earth Warriors, we really believe in the power of using citizen science to inform anything we're doing. We didn't just want to build the Earth Warriors curriculum without actually understanding what students want, what parents want, what teachers want. So we did, surveys with parents as well as surveys with teachers to understand, do they want their children to receive climate and sustainability education? What are the major barriers that teachers are facing? And we also drew on a lot of secondary data from organizations like UNESCO, BBC. For example, UNESCO did a survey that found that majority of teachers, over 90%, actually want to teach children about climate change, but the majority don't feel confident to do so. So we've developed, bespoke teacher training and an approach to help teachers remove that kind of burden and be more confident. And also the way in which we use citizen science is that before we actually finalize the Earth Warriors curriculum, we tested it in 4 different settings around the world to make sure that it's not just something that has been developed in theory, but it's also something that really works in practice. Children really understand it. Teachers can really teach it really well. And I think that level of engagement, both understanding what parent, student, and teacher views are, and also understanding how it works in the real world context, is how citizen science has really influenced the work that we are doing at Earth Warriors.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I look forward to learning more about this. So as we wrap up, we want to turn to the warrior moms, Manorama and Samita. Briefly share, like 30 seconds each, any cultural challenges that you've encountered as caregiver activists, and how you've overcome them.
May I start first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you see, the state I belong to in India is extremely patriarchal. So, but we got a momentum, the women got a momentum during the farmers' protest. We came out, we spoke about our problems and the main challenges regarding our children's lives, and asking for accountability is something that we all are gathering together. We understood the unity is the only key towards accountability in our country, and what we are facing today, again today, when we talk about certain issues about landfill and about the forest that I was talking about, which is one of the last ancient surviving forests. This is where the unified approach from every segment of the society has come together. The cultural barriers end when everybody understands about the basic, this thing is an emergency. The air pollution around us is an emergency for the survival of our children. So when everybody understands that, we actually go ahead and cut across all sorts of barriers. And here we are, it just takes one person first to come forward and break through all the barriers, then everybody else joins. And this is actually what I'm witnessing today in my state.
Thank you so much. Manorama.
Yes.
30 seconds.
Okay. I come from a state which is tribal dominated state, and most of our people are affected by this unsafe migration, and this biomass burning is leading to this deforestation. So that's how we can face the challenges. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. We have to wrap up now. Thank you so much.